the values and the culture
consciousness
that you permeate the institution with. And Grameen has some, I don't know, probably about 40 or 50,000 employees. So you put one new person, let's say the government pulls out, the most profit-minded, and again, wouldn't that be ironic to actually put somebody in there that actually did start sucking blood out of the poor, as a government appointee? But even if you put one person there, the other 49,999 employees going to let that person do it. I think the key is that over decades of building the right values, that always decisions made at all levels are made around foundational principles. And they do that all the way down to the clients. The 18 or 16 or 18 principles that every one of their millions of clients memorize these principles and recite them every week. The staff, I'm sure, do something of the same, that they have staff principles that they all know, they're ingrained, they're expected to practice them. So you put one person in at the top, you certainly can't change that overnight. It'll take a while. And in fact, I believe that I believe in the organizations I've worked with, the culture basically remains. You can change even the top, the entire top office, not just the person, but the momentum of the organizational culture continues on.
Indeed. What's next for you, and how does this shake up with Grameen and Dr. Yunus? Does it impact what you're doing other than being a model of something that's happening? How does it change your work? Does it change your work?
Well, I work in a lot of different areas of microfinance, as you were commenting at the beginning. But in the area of pricing transparency, our task is so important, and it's actually it's getting larger. Here's a way to kind of summarize this: is that for decades, we ourselves didn't do these price conversions. We didn't do the APRs. We didn't really know what price we were charging. We just knew the figures we kind of threw out. We've made rapid and necessary progress over the last 3 years to calculate and understand what prices we really are charging, and we've done very well at that. But now the next very important task is to educate to understanding what those prices mean and why they are what they are. Okay, so that when we say, for example, like you said, Grameen used to charge 14. Well, was it 14 flat or was it a 14 in APR? Now they're charging 20. So do we? Your listeners are concluding Grameen raised their prices. Well, I would almost bet. Well, I would bet. I would almost be certain that in fact the price, the 20 that we're seeing now, is lower than the 14 you saw in 2003.
Based on what you've explained, I do get that now.
Yeah.
I do get that now, but boy, is it misleading to just hear the number, because you don't know the number inside of what arrangement.
Right, and this is again, sadly, my institution and me. We're in great need to help to educate. And this is where I'm going with this. Now that we see what true prices are, now we must do the harder, daunting task of educating about what those prices are. Because guess what? The Grameen, you were kind of expressed some dismay that Grameen is charging the poor 20%.
Yeah, and by the way, and I love Yunus, and I love what he did. So that dismay is simply because I'm listening only to the number, but you provided the context in which the number is living in.
Right. So now, but guess what? So far, now you just say, well, 20 is lower than the others, and 20 is certainly lower than Mexico. So 20 seems high, but at least it's lower than others. But we still haven't asked the question, why do we charge 100% in Mexico? Why do we charge 40% in India? Why does Grameen charge 20%? These are poor people. How can they pay even 20%, let alone 100%? And that's a very hard. There are good, solid answers to those, but they're non-intuitive. Okay, let's maybe the best way. Let's take the 20%. Okay,
Grameen, that's good.
Yeah, let's say, okay, is Grameen really sucking the blood out of the poor when they loan a woman $100 at 20% annual interest rate? Okay, let's do the math. The Grameen loans are 1 year long. They're weekly payments loans. They have weekly meetings, 52 meetings, and the loan officer, Grameen, goes and meets with that woman and collects a small payment of $1 and something and spends some time with that person. Now, okay, that $100, let's say the woman has an average balance over the whole year of $100. She's paying $20 in interest for the entire year. Okay, that's 20%. So the woman gets an average balance of $100 gets to use that $100 for a whole year, and that's a lot of money for her. In return, she pays $20 in income to Grameen. That means Grameen gets about 35, less than 50 cents a week to monitor that loan. Okay, so Grameen, how rich did Grameen get by making $20 of income and then having to work with that woman 52 times over the course of a year? They didn't make they didn't get a whole lot of profit, did they? Right? And the woman, she says, well, this is a $100 loan. I can put that in my business, and I can turn that over. I can buy goods, and then I can sell my sell what my business manages, and I can make she makes probably, let's say, $1 a day. Okay, with $100 of working capital, she can make about $1 a day of income. So she made $300 in that year. She pays 20 of those $300 in interest, and she still has nearly $1 a day for. Which doesn't sound like much to us, but
right, it's all relational.
It's all relational, right? So here's where the interest rate of 20% on $100 is extremely fair and extremely affordable. If you move that up to 100,000, like go to anyone in the world, let alone Bangladesh, if you make a $100,000 loan.
Wait, before you go there, I just wanted to say something. Yeah. The other neat thing about the way it's done is it's really done on a cash flow basis when you're paying over a year. Right?
Yeah, I mean she's paying a little bit of a principal and a little bit of interest. Again, it's about she's paying about $2 a week.
I think that if it's done on a cash flow basis, it also makes it easier, even if the perceived cost of the loan is high.
Yeah, here's another way. I mean, let's use a little hypothetical mind game. We can say, well, what if I were going to loan you $100 per year? My cost would be lower if I just give you $100 and I ignore you for 364 days, and then I knock on your door and say, give me $120. Okay? Now, and hopefully, you're still around. I can find your house and you remember the loan. And if so, I made $20 income for a minimum of work.
Right.
Okay? But, Grameen is meeting with you every single week, 52 times instead of just one time, and they're still only making $20. Okay? So again, when you look at the delivery costs, and we're not even talking about sort of the social, the training and the motivation and the encouragement that are built into these group meetings. That $20 of cost for the loan, it's really not $20 of cost for a loan. It's $20 of cost for a $100 loan with a variety of other empowerment and literacy building services, right? So you're getting, in this case, I mean, if you're a woman in Bangladesh with one of those loans, you're getting a lot for your money. I would argue in Mexico, Nigeria, a few other countries, you're getting where you're paying over 100% interest, and honestly getting less. You're barely getting a loan. You're not getting those other value-added services at a much higher cost. Those governments should be asking some hard questions of the MFIs. Okay. The irony is that, again, go back to. I mean, it's sad how upside down the world is many times. But the noblest, squeakiest, cleanest institution is the one that's being raked over the coals, and the ones that have made a lot of money and continue to make a lot of money are under the radar. Nobody's paying attention to them.
You are.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, that's what our organization is to go up. We go out there and we get the data on everybody, and so then now you really know what everyone's charging. Not everyone, but the countries we go to, 20 some countries. You can then see the prices. Charging now here, this value of the concept of transparency is sort of a magical, amazing thing.